I believe that everybody has the right to go to work in a safe environment, return home safe every night to their loved ones, not only in our business, but to the forest industry worldwide, no matter where you are. Hi, I'm Dale Ewers. Myself and Christine, my wife, we started DC Equipment to innovate and change the forest industry for the better, to reduce accidents and make it a safer place. In 1989, we finally kicked off. I got it past Christine to mortgage the house. We started up with just the bulldozer and myself, and then we soon took on 2 other guys. Landed the contract in Green Hill in '97, a 5-year contract, which changed our life from a monthly contract to a 5-year contract. And we went from 1 crew to 4 crews, and then that grew to about 8 or 10. In 2003 was probably fundamental because we took on our first mechanic. And then we grew from 3 to 4 to 5. In 2010, we split the mechanical part out of Mootry and called it a different name. So DC Equipment can cover repairs, manufacturing, anything. If you start looking at what we did, hand trimming trees on slopes of 60 and 70 degrees, climbing up and down the hill, I could name most of the dates when we had lost time injuries, which means that they couldn't make it to work the next day. One day we actually had 3 people wiped out in 2 different operations. You know, with just rocks coming down the hill and the hazardous areas that lads work in down the hill. I just thought, shit, there's got to be a better way than doing this. I could actually see how we could do things differently. 2013, that was a horrific year. We were already starting to lean into it, but people like Dale and a few others, you know, they'd already spotted that. It either weighed heavy on their minds or they were needing to not be seen as a company that supported bad practices.
Government stepped in and they basically gave us a review and said, well, if we don't sort our industry out, then they'll regulate it to the degree where I think most people wouldn't like it to be.
Going through the time and spending time with families and no, you got to cut, sorry. I'm just the accidents that we've had, and I just went back to in the intensive care unit with one of our staff. He rolled one of our machines and he was in a coma for like 5 days or something. And his mum and dad were there and his brothers and sisters, and just seeing the pain that it went through. Some of those key events sort of stuck with me, and that was where I wanted to make a difference.
He's been quoted on more than one occasion as to why he went down this track, and that was he didn't want to be involved in talking to wives or partners or parents about their son who's been killed. So that was a huge driver for him to do something to negate any of that happening again.
We started building this database on our near hit reporting. We started going through this process with some easy trends to see. The crews that we call motor manual cutting up by hand incident rate were up here, but down here was this crew that was having hardly any incidents, if any, on the landings. This is where this mechanisation started coming from.
Mechanisation is really the application of machinery and technology. There's nothing a human being can do without the support of machinery and technology nowadays.
What we said was, well, we've got to get more processes put into place. So as soon as we did that, incident rate starts dropping.
Our health and safety stats have gone down in the industry. We still see a few deaths, but you see those coincidentally in areas that don't have mech falling and mech grappling.
So over the next 2 to 3 years, our incident rates started coming down a bit, but then they rised up a little bit. So we had to go through the same process again and go, hang on a minute guys, we're missing something here. We're talking about 1,800 to 2,000 near hits. Every single incident had the same damn thing on it. Every single incident has people involved. That's why there's an incident. You think about the logic. So we're actually in Holt Valley at one of our logging sites. This is actually Mutri 1. So this is the crew that I formed back in 1989. We're running one of our grapple carriages. This is carriage number 51 that you can see on screen. We have a Waratah processing head, QC deck out there, so we've got one man out on the ground that's painting up a few logs here and there and measuring logs, but that's the only person you'll see on the ground. The rest of them are all in a structured cab. And then over in the background we have a mechanised tree faller, so he's in a machine falling trees on a winch assist. You can see the massive difference between where we were 20 years ago to where we are today.
For Dale, it's very much about the people, it's very much about the health and safety, and I know that he's basing that on his personal experience of being a logger in those early days where the manual components of the industry were prevalent and people did get hurt. Every time you're in the forest and you meet other people working in the forest industry, really good people, really enjoyable to be in their company.
No one ever wants to see anyone get hurt, you know. To take that out of your mind that that guy is not there, you don't have to worry about him. Brilliant. It's just one of the less things you got to worry about. You can focus on other things rather than the guy on the hill. This has definitely kept me in the game a lot longer, I think. I don't know where I'd be without it, really, to be quite honest, mate.
I've been with Dale all the way through this, and there's no other way to describe it than a lifesaver. The energy that he's put into making this place safe is incredible. Absolutely. The first carriage he made had thousands of hoses and it broke down a lot, but he just kept going, mate. And finally developed the Falcon Claw. There's no man on the hill. How safer can that be? It's very rarely you have to send a man down the hill to go tree falling. That's just terrific, isn't it? You know, how much safer could it get?
When we started off many hundred years ago, we were just working with gravity and as well as with animals. But since the introduction of machinery, our forest industry has always looked to adapt, but also we've had to innovate a lot around equipment and technology.
In the years that I've been working within the forest sector, rapid change has been made.
We've moved from having much less than 50% of our felling done with machines to now we're up over 90%. Also with regard to processing, only 10 years ago, most of the logs being cut up on the landing were still being cut up by chainsaws. Now 95% of them are being cut up by machines.
We've proven that we can actually reduce incidents more than tenfold. We've reduced our breaking out incidents in our operations by 90%. We introduced our winch assist program to then grab trees, so we went from hand falling 80% of our wood to 10% maximum and double the volume. WorkSafe New Zealand don't want to have anybody manually tree falling a tree by the year 2025. That's a hell of a goal. I genuinely believe that we can actually make that happen. If we started putting patents on our products, all we're doing is stalling the industry. We're not bigger than the industry. And if we're genuinely serious about actually building product to save people's lives, the more people doing it, guess what? The more people we can save. So we've reduced from 80% exposure down to 10% exposure. We've still got to nail that 10%. And we will nail that 10%.
You know, whenever you meet Dale, he's very good about articulating his vision. And I think that's what really defines Dale, is he's quite motivational. I think he's creating opportunities, especially for young people, to take a real interest and perhaps absorb some of his passion for the contributions that they could make within our forest industry. EC Equipment or someone like Dale, you know, we're not just saving lives in New Zealand, but we're also saving lives internationally as well.
I believe that everybody has the right to go to work in a safe environment return home safe every night to their loved ones. Not only in our business, but the forest industry worldwide.